Fans may eventually want more, but win today and Tottenham will be top four and push Forest closer to the drop. This is Talksport, where the live football never stops, so let's get it on. At the City Ground, FA Cup winner Scott Minto is alongside Talksport's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Sam. Good evening once again. Ange Postecoglou has played down the impact of the Champions League on his recruitment for next season, but there's no doubt it would be progress and would be something tangible to add to the feel-good factor. Of course, Forest won the European Cup twice back in the day, but survival is their current ambition, and yesterday's drama did not help them out one bit. A reminder of the two teams once again: one change for Spurs. Bentancur drops to the bench. Pape Sarr comes back into midfield. Vicario in goal. Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Udogie the back four. Basuma and Sarr in midfield. Johnson, Maddison and Werner behind Son in attack. And of course he celebrated 400 Tottenham appearances against West Ham in midweek, and there was a great tribute to him before the game here today. It's the same Forest side which beat Fulham by 3-1 in midweek. 3 points, much needed considering that teams around them picked up points yesterday. Sells in goal, Williams, Adderley, Murillo and Aina the back four. Danilo and Yates in midfield. Elanga, Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi behind Wood in attack. And Scott Minto, fantastic atmosphere inside the ground despite the police incident outside. Everybody appears to have got in on time, and we've had some massive games today, both sides of the England and Scotland border, but this is huge for Tottenham and maybe in many ways even bigger for Forest.
I don't disagree with you, Nigel. I think you're absolutely right. You know, as I say, we've seen with Villa dropping points, and I think they will drop points, more points as the rest of the season goes on, with them going deep into Europe, a competition I do believe that they will win. That Spurs maybe could drop points themselves, although having said that, as I just mentioned about, they've still got the top three to play, so this is a game where they've got to come away, I feel, with all 3 points. But in terms of, you look at the relegation, I mean, Forest have to come away with something, because Luton winning yesterday has got them really breathing down their necks.
And it's Forest in their change kit, predominantly a very dark blue with pinky orange stripes. Spurs of course wearing all white. Forest only outside the relegation places on goal difference. And the Premier League football never stops on Talksport, and we are underway here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. An unusual kick-off time, but this will have an impact at both ends of the table, and it's Spurs defending the south stand away to our right in the first half. And here is Van de Ven wide towards Werner, and it could be the attacking trio behind the two strikers which hold the key to this game. Maddison with the bright orange boots, wide to Udogie on this near side, the Spurs left. And now Basuma just gets shoved off the ball by Yates, but Basuma regains his poise and goes back towards Van de Ven. And now Romero, and Forest are very, very deep here at the start of this game, in almost full retreat as Tottenham look to build on this near side. Nuno, the former Spurs manager, on the edge of his technical area. Of course, he's barely remembered here. He was barely here. 10 Premier League games. He seemingly arrived with little fanfare and left with even less. Now Basuma once again, midway inside the Forest half. Forest have barely had a kick so far. Sarr back in field towards Romero, and now it's Van de Ven again, and it's attack against defence in the opening 80 seconds or so. Here is Werner looking to increase the pace for Spurs. The low cross in from this near side from Sarr is blocked by Yates, and it will be the game's first corner, and it will be for Spurs on this near side.
I'm not overly surprised at all with the initial 90 seconds. Tottenham wanting the ball, they always have more possession. I think it's only 2 games this season where they haven't. One where they went down to 9 men against Chelsea, and the other against City, which you know that happens. And Forest very good on the counter-attack.
Corner kick on this near side, played short to Maddison. Now on the edge of the penalty area, Basuma hits one, and he was always right underneath that, and it's over the top, and it will be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest.
Well, I think Forest, just need to try and get hold of the ball a little bit. It's all very well just dropping deep and sometimes going 5 at the back. Well, you need to be able to just keep the ball a little bit, relieve the pressure. And they're taking the goal kick, they're taking it short, and Tottenham wanting to press high.
Half an hour played at Bramall Lane. It's still Sheffield United 0. Chelsea 1. Thiago Silva with the early goal there. And of course, earlier on at Old Trafford, another tumultuous game. And it finished 2-2 between Manchester United and Liverpool as Spurs try and build with Sarr on the far side again, but it's quickly cut out and played down the line by Murillo, and the pace on the far side of Callum Hudson-Odoi, who, as a player who came through the academy at Chelsea, he'll always be fired up to play Spurs. 3 minutes played here on Talksport in the Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Fantastic conditions for football on this early Sunday evening. Puffy clouds and blue skies overhead after what's been another very pleasantly warm day in this part of London, as Ola Aina, another former Chelsea youngster, will take the throw in on the far side for Forest, but it's worked all the way back to Matt Sales, the Belgian international, wearing all yellow, defending the Forest goal away to our left hand side. His clearance is gathered by Van der Ven, but it's quickly cut out by Elanga. But the challenge comes in on Werner from Yates, and it will be a free kick for Spurs, which they take quickly. Werner infield towards Maddison. And now Sarr again. For Forest with good defensive organisation in the early stages, but here is Son on the edge of the penalty area, closed down by Yates. And now an opportunity for Forest to break, and it's the ball over the top, looking for the pace of Elanga. Vicario outside his penalty area will clear the ball away, and Tottenham have the opportunity to break, but that was a possibility for Forest due to the pace they have. Now at the other end, a cross is delivered in from Pedro Porro, and it's ballooned high and behind for a corner to Spurs. But before we have it, briefly to Bramall Lane, where there's been a goal. Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 1. The equaliser from Jayden Bogle, superbly played in wide by Gus Harmer. Near post shot was fierce, but it squeezed into the embarrassment of Petrovic in Chelsea's goal. Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 1.
Shake of the head from Scott Minto alongside me. 1-1 at Bramall Lane, 0-0 here with nearly 5 minutes played, and it will be Spurs' second corner. And again it's played short towards Maddison on the right corner of the penalty area. He shuffles in field, then onto the outside. Right foot ball in was a good delivery, headed away by Murillo. The volley at the far post from Werner was blocked, but it's quickly won back on this near side by Tottenham once again. Sarr finding Udogie, and now back towards Werner. Werner with a cross in, and it's blocked at the near post by Yates. And at the moment, Scott Minto, it is attack against defence.
No, it is, but Forest won't mind that. They know this is going to happen. They know that Spurs will want to have possession, and they're quite happy to sit back. We've just seen a warning already, haven't we, with that ball over the top, and Elanga. He would have got to it first out of all the outfield players, but well read by Vicario. I think him reading the situation is going to be absolutely key, especially with that high line that Spurs always hold.
Now Basuma coming in field from the left-hand side, 25 yards out for Spurs, slipped into the area, looking for Johnson, but Forest will clear, and now Wood lifts it wide towards the far side, and here is Hudson-Odoi once again. Danilo with the peroxide rinse makes the run up towards the edge of the halfway line, but Spurs will eventually clear. A good leap from Basuma to head the ball into the path of Maddison, who's challenged by Yates, and now Maddison has gone down, and that's always a concern for Tottenham, just clutching the back of his right Achilles, and it will be a free kick for Spurs midway inside the Forest half, given by Simon Hooper.
Yeah, the ball just went to the side of Yates, and I think there was a danger. If Maddison had nicked the ball past him, then they would have been on the attack. So I think he made sure that, okay, you may get the ball past me, but you're not coming past me.
6.5 minutes played on Talksport. Spurs 0, Forest 0 here, as Maddison from the free kick plays it wide towards Pedro Porro. Johnson, and again Spurs are having to work very hard to try and break Forest down. Basuma, and here is Van der Ven. All of the outfield players are at least midway inside the Forest half here. Werner with a low cross into the near post. It's gathered by Son, who looks to pirouette, plays it back to Maddison, who goes for the curler. Blocked by Gibbs-White. There's a miss kick at the far post, then another miss kick from Basuma on the edge of the penalty area. Udogie tries to win it back, but Wood does well to hold him off, and it's wide towards the far side, and Hudson-Odoi drives it forward. He nearly found Elanga, who would have been clean through, but an important intervention from Van der Ven, and Tottenham have it back again. Maddison back towards Basuma, and here is Sarr. Spreads it wide to this near side, looking for Werner, but it's cut out well by Williams. And Forest will try and break forward with Elanga. He's been caught by Udogie, and it will be a free kick to Forest on halfway.
Yeah, and that's one of those that's just short of a yellow card, actually. He was past him, he knew he wasn't going to get the ball, really, and he's brought him down completely. And that's something which certainly Elanga on this side, but also Hudson-Odoi on the other will try and get in behind the fullbacks of Spurs, who always try and push on.
Now the Brazilian Murillo on the far side, infield towards Sales, who drills the ball wide towards the right, where it's gathered by Williams and slipped forward by Yates. A good ball. Alanga's quick and he gets there first, but the cross in is scraped away 6 yards out by Romero. Only Wood was inside the penalty area, so any ball in has to be one of high precision.
He's got to do better there, though. He could see what it was. Wood was at the far post. It got in behind Udogie. And Udogie's not going to catch him because Elanga is that quick. And it was the right to play it first time, but yeah, it did need to be a very precise pass, but you're not going to get lots of opportunities at Spurs. And Wood was on his own at the far post.
9 minutes played. You're listening to Spurs against Forest on Talksport with Now. And don't forget, with Now, you can stream all the Sky Sports action like this game live right now, contract free with a Now Sports membership. A low ball in from Werner towards the near post. Maddison tries to win it back, and they will scrape it clear, and you can search Now Sports. As Werner has it back again, finding Udogie. Now Basuma. Square towards Papsar. And Basuma again as Forest resume their defensive vigil. Everybody back within 10 or 15 yards of their penalty area without the ball in this sort of area, looking to make it incredibly congested. Son looks to wriggle through. Here is Basuma again. I would love to see the passing stats so far in the opening 10 minutes. About 100 to 15, I would imagine. Something similar as Murillo clears the ball away. And now Danilo will play it long downfield. Forest want a free kick for a challenge on Wood. Nothing is given. Maddison, who has a former Leicester player, will get some stick from the Forest fans. Now it's been given away cheaply by Aino on the far side. Sarr back in field again, but Gibbs-White does well to win it. Then ride the challenge of Maddison. Tries to link up with Danilo, but it's quickly won back. Johnson now for Spurs down the right. Infield towards Maddison. Not too sure he wanted the ball there. And it was a rather gingerly ball forward. As now Forest go for goal. That was 70 yards out. And they look to catch out Vicario, who was way out of his goal. And it was an incredible ball launched forward there by Murillo. And he wasn't too far away from one of the longest range goals you will ever see.
I can't remember a longer goal, a longer strike than that, Nigel. I really can't. If that had gone in.
Pat Jennings, I think.
Well, absolutely. You're talking to goalkeepers going further back. My goodness me, what a strike it was from Murillo. Been brilliant defending, but nearly scored.
Now Johnson with a cross in towards the near post for Spurs from the right, looking for Son at the near post, and it's cut out well by Adderley, and it will be another Spurs corner. 10 minutes played, and unsurprisingly at Tottenham these days it's been lively.
Do you know what? Vicario's angles, he'd probably say had it covered. He was worried.
Think he did.
He was worried. That was an incredible strike. From there you're thinking, no, you're not going to actually, because of the precision, the way you have to sort of strike through the ball, you don't have the accuracy. I tell you what, that was as close as it gets.
Again, Spurs go short from the corner. Johnson, former Forest player, of course, finding Maddison. Wide towards Porro, slipped in towards Johnson and back out towards Basuma. The shot in takes two deflections, and the second one from Chris Wood sent it looping high over the crossbar, and it will be another Spurs corner.
I know what I would say. It's a great game of football. It really is. Yes, Forest are defending deep, but they're looking to counter when they possibly can, and Spurs trying to dominate with their possession. Little intricate passing as well. Still not quite able to get Sells to make a really good save and create a chance. Good defending from the away side at the moment, but Tottenham having all the possession.
Pedro Porro will take the corner on this near side, so it will be a potential in-swinger. Johnson, though, comes short, and that's the ball. Now Johnson back out towards the edge of the penalty area, and Basuma. Maddison back towards Pedro Porro again. Right-footed ball into the box. Fisted clear by Sells, and then volley clear by Williams. High up towards the halfway line, where it's gathered by Udogie. 12 minutes played. Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 0. The situation at both ends of the table. Spurs 3 points behind Villa. This one of their 2 games in hand. They also have a better goal difference. If they win today, they will go up into 4th place. Forest outside the relegation zone on goal difference after Luton's late comeback with it home to Bournemouth yesterday. The bottom of the table, Sheffield United, including the point they may have at the moment, 1-1 at home to Chelsea. They would have 16 points, Burnley 19, Luton 25, Forest 25, then a gap, Brentford 29, and Brentford have drawn their previous 3 games, but they are valuable points in a relegation battle at the moment, although they may believe they should have won at least 2 of those games. Certainly the one we saw last week against United.
Absolutely. They absolutely dominated the game. If that had been 5-1, that probably would have been a fair result. But I mean, you look at the games that Spurs do have, and you know, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, Chelsea away, Man City at home, Liverpool away. There's some tough games in there. They could do with 3 points today.
And that Newcastle game will be live on Talksport in game day, 12:30 next Saturday. Maddison now caught on the turn by Yates on the centre circle, and it will be at least a talking to here from Simon Hooper, but he gives him the totting up process and shows the Forest captain a yellow card.
I think that's a yellow by itself, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just rolled in Maddison. He's come round the back of him. He knows exactly what he's doing, Ryan Yates. I don't really think he needed to. Still, Forest were set defensively. Yes, he would have been running at them, but he hasn't got the pace to beat these central defenders. And now he's just got to be careful with his tackles.
Evening sunshine here now at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but it is quite blustery at pitch level. The corner flags are moving around quite a bit as Romero strides forward now, clips it over the top, looking for Johnson. Cleared away though by Danilo. Now Hudson-Odoi, and it's down the line from Aina down the left-hand side, and he's done well to pick out the run of Gibbs-White, but Romero just gets a foot in and Spurs win it back.
Do you think any of these players would have watched James Ward-Prowse yesterday with the wind and the corner, and they might be hoping it picks up and maybe they can score directly from the corner today?
Well, I think Murillo may fancy it, judging by the fact he's had a go from 70 yards. Now Son plays it wide towards the left, and Werner deep inside the penalty area, across the face of goal, and it's an own goal by Murillo. And the player who went for goal from 70 yards at one end has scored an own goal at the other. Timo Werner gets the congratulations with an excellent ball into that corridor of uncertainty, and the player who was most uncertain was Murillo, who lunged in and sent the ball into the back of the net to give Spurs the gift of a lead.
Yeah, it's such a horrible ball when you're facing that as a defender. He's definitely onside as the ball goes out to Werner. He takes the first touch and just with his left foot just puts it into that corridor there, and look, Murillo feels he has to go for it. But as a defender, if you don't and there's someone behind you and they stick it in the back of the net, people are looking at you. So he stuck out his right foot, but that's the worst case scenario, isn't it? And actually, despite all the possession, I think Forest have looked reasonably comfortable.
They are checking for offside here in the build-up, and it's not Werner, it's the player who was making the run down the centre. So the VAR official, Michael Salisbury, is looking at this, and I don't think that the player in the centre, even if he was stood offside, he had no bearing on what Murillo did.
Well, he was stood offside, but it didn't go to him. It went to Werner, and it wasn't even close to him. So I don't know why.
Goal's given anyway, yeah. And Spurs lead by a goal to nil. Forest have lost their 5 previous Premier League meeting against Spurs. As Son plays it forward again. Dean Saunders was the last Forest player to score a winning goal here back in 1997, and another Talksport colleague, Stuart Pearce, was the player manager of Forest at the time.
I was chatting to Dino this morning with him and Natalie.
He didn't mention it, I can't believe it.
You told him to mention it.
Now Basuma with a shot just wide, close to a second goal for Tottenham. And having been given the gift of an early goal, they really have the taste now. The deadlock has also been broken at Wembley in the EFL Trophy final. Here's Ian Abrahams.
6 minutes to go. Peterborough 1, Wickham 0. Harrison Burrows, the skipper. He's been with the club since he was 6 years old. Ball played out to him on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Put his foot on the ball, took a touch, and then fired it beyond the goalkeeper. Peterborough 3 minutes away from winning this one. It's live on Talksport 2. It's Peterborough 1, Wickham 0.
Harrison Burrows, one of the best defenders in League One this season. And he scored the goal which could maintain Peterborough's 100% record at the National Stadium. Both of them. Still 1-1, approaching half-time at Bramall Lane between Sheffield United and Chelsea. Thiago Silva with the opening goal there. Jayden Bogle with the equaliser for the Blades. And at the top of the table, following that draw at Old Trafford earlier today, Arsenal ahead of Liverpool on goal difference. Manchester City a further point back. But Spurs will have a role in the title race because Arsenal must come here for the North London derby. So must Manchester City. That game's yet to be rearranged. And Anfield will also be the destination for one of Spurs' remaining away games. As Forest come forward now with Aina with a break into the penalty area, fires it low from the edge of the box, and it's straight into the arms of Vicario.
Yeah, it's poor in the end, isn't it? He's inside the box on his right foot.
And it was Hudson-Odoi who had the effort in the end.
As he just got cut inside, Aina's gone outside of him, and he's come inside, and it's a poor shot straight at Vicario.
But there's been another late goal at Wembley. Ian Abrahams.
Peterborough 1, Wickham 1 within 3 minutes to go behind. Wickham have equalised. They just come on as a substitute as well, Dale Taylor, but he's fired home on the volley from outside the penalty area. And Peterborough, who had the lead through Harrison Burrows, have been pegged back. Extra time is beckoning. It will be on Talksport 2. Peterborough 1, Wickham 1.
And I hope that the Wickham fan Joe Shannon managed to maintain his composure on the commentary there over on Talksport 2.
Alongside posh fan Adrian Durham.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't maintain his composure. As Yates brings it forward now for Forest. A goal down here, and you can download the app and swipe between the two games currently ongoing on the Talksport network, and that will be invaluable in the closing weeks of the season. So many games from the Premier League will be on Talksport. And of course, Talksport 2, the home of the EFL, will be covering the drama at both ends of the championship, and of course the playoffs coming up as well, which always guarantee drama, glory and tears. Half-time at Bramall Lane, the 5:30 kick-off in the Premier League. Here's Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 1, 2 soft goals but stirring stuff from the bottom team to get level after Thiago Silva's opener. A simple side foot on the volley from Gallagher's corner. Bogle's equaliser owed to Petrovic failing to save at the near post, but also a great pass in from Harmer. Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 1.
Thanks, Alan. Don't forget Talksport Breakfast with Alan Brazil and Gabby Ogbonlahor tomorrow. Phil Thompson, Peter Schmeichel and Dwight York will all be guests on the programme, looking back on that incredible game. Another incredible game at Old Trafford this season involving Manchester United and Liverpool. United dominated in the first half, then leading late on before the penalty from Mohamed Salah, but it's dropped points for Liverpool in the title race.
And now it's in Arsenal's hands.
Absolutely. That Tottenham could ultimately be the kingmakers, but they'll be more concerned about finishing in the top four as Son comes forward now on this near side, leading here by a goal to nil. The own goal from Murillo, yet to score for Nottingham Forest, but he has now scored for Tottenham. Now Johnson, wide on the far side, the right for Spurs. Has support from Pedro Porro. Maddison takes over. And there have been some talk that he may have been rested for this game, but Maddison at least starting. Well, there's been a flurry of late goals at Wembley. Here's Ian Abrahams once again.
A minute into 5 of added on time. Peterborough 2, Wickham 1. Harrison Burrows has done it again. If his first was a sublime strike that he meant, his second just as sublime. This one he definitely doesn't mean it's a cross. Ball played in from a corner by Burrows. He goes back to retrieve it almost by the touchline, and as he plays it in from at least 25 yards out, way on the touchline, he's bent it with enough swerve that it goes into the back of the net over the top of the goalkeeper. 4 minutes of added on time left on Talksport 2. It's Peterborough 2, Wickham 1.
Great finish there. Good game here as well. 21 minutes played. Spurs leading Forest by a goal to nil and heading back into the top four as it stands. Now Werner who made the goal, put into his own net by Murillo. Wide towards Son again, who comes in field from the left. Maddison in support. Maddison now receives on the left corner of the penalty area, and he's challenged by Danilo, who has just a couple of nibbles, but Maddison manages to stay on his feet. Slipped in low towards Son. Porro back towards Son again, who goes down on the edge of the penalty area as he tangled with Yates. Son looks imploringly towards Simon Hooper, the referee, but he waves away any appeals.
Well, I'll tell you what, Yates is dropping in to make it a 5 at times. And as the ball's played from Maddison, he lays it off Son. It's a 1-2. I mean, Yates brings his arm up. He definitely makes contact. It's just not quite enough, I think, to justify a penalty. But on another day, it could have been given.
Maybe the referee thought that Son was trying to initiate the contact. The leg was dangled, though, by Yates.
Yeah, and the arm was out. And he definitely sort of just pulled at him a little bit. As I say, I don't think there was enough, but he did get away with that one.
You're listening to Spurs Against Forest on Talksport with Enterprise Rent a Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. Tottenham dominating since the goal here. Maddison, and now Basuma with another strike. This time it was on target, but it was saved by Sells at the second attempt.
Yeah, and Forest are dropping too deep, really. As I say, Yates is dropping into the back 4 to make it a back 5. And then the rest of the midfielders are having to drop really deep. Look, they've got the pace to counter-attack, but I also think they're allowing these shots to come in. It just takes one really good strike from Maddison, a Basuma, or a Pape Sarr. Suddenly 2-0, and that's going to be difficult to come back from.
Werner coming forward again now. Hitting the byline, another ball whipped into the near post, and Johnson somehow fails to score from 4 yards out. Now Maddison inside the penalty area, square towards Son. Left foot shot from him is also blocked, and Forest will try and break. Woods looking to pick out Hudson-Odoi. It breaks kindly for Gibbs-White, who hammers a ball forward to encourage Hudson-Odoi to chase, but Van der Ven is quick, and he nods it in the end into a safer area before finding Vicario, and gets warm applause from the Tottenham supporters.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I liken him to a Forest player back in the day. It was almost Des Walker-like, the way he just opened his legs up and just said, nah, you're not beating me for pace. I'm going to get there first.
You'll never beat Des Walker.
Absolutely.
Now Werner slips it forward again, looking for Udogie, but Yates covers well. Ryan Yates, the Forest captain, the only player left in their team from the one which won the playoffs less than 2 years ago. But Werner will receive a yellow card here. It was an untidy challenge on Anthony Elanga, and Werner went to ground very early on before Elanga had even looked to go beyond him, and there's no doubt he caught the former Manchester United youngster, and it will be a yellow card for Werner. Well,
I think we can safely say it's a forwards tackle, and it's one that he doesn't need to make, because Elanga's not really going anywhere. Yes, he's got that pace, but he didn't need to do that.
Oh, just watching on the monitor here in the commentary position, the opportunity for Johnson. Another fantastic ball in from Werner, who's already provided one assist today. Johnson had to score, really, but Sells with a brilliant save.
Do you know what? You're right, but he does everything right, and that's a fantastic save from Sells. He makes himself really big. Brilliant play from Werner, going down the outside again.
Gibbs-White now with a high ball towards the far post. Murillo controls for Forest on their left. A high ball driven in. Vicario, almost like a superhero, takes flight there to fist the ball away. There was no one near him, though.
He did think he was Superman there, didn't he? But there's no one within 3 or 4 yards of him.
Tottenham, though, looking to break now on the far side there, right, with Johnson. He comes in field beyond Danilo. On towards Sarr. Sarr with the cross in, and Sells gathers safely at the near post. Currently Spurs 1, Forest 0. The latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now, Tottenham to win at 2-13 on. You can back Forest to win at 14-1, or back the draw at 13-2. Don't forget, Betfair are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute payout. Applies to match odds 90, market, or markets with the 90 icon. All thanks to Betfair. 18 plus, gamble away. 26 minutes played here on Talksport. Spurs leading Forest by 1-0, but Forest coming forward now with Elanga. The low ball in, looking for Wood, and Chris Wood drives in the equaliser. He has been absolutely red hot since the arrival of Nuno Espirito Santo, and there is yet another goal from him. It's his 4th in 4 games, but every time he plays at the moment, He seems to score, and once again Tottenham concede here at home.
Really good play again from Nottingham Forest down the right hand side, and they've taken Mickey van der Ven out the game. It's Elanga who's played the ball to Nico Williams, who's then played it on first time. He's inside the box, and Wood gets there first before Romero. And it's a wonderful finish. In fact, it's Pedro Porro who actually comes across. It's gone through his legs. Vicaria's got no chance whatsoever. But Chris Wood, wow, how clinical is he right now in a Nottingham Forest shirt? They are dangerous on the counter-attack, you have to say. Don't look at the possession stats when you play against Nottingham Forest. You watch out for them, because they have pace, and they've got a striker at the moment, despite Awoniyi being injured, who is on fire.
9 goals in 10 games since Nuno's arrival for Chris Wood. And Tottenham maintaining a recent trend. They've scored in 42 of their last 43 games, but it's now only 2 clean sheets in 22 games. Goals guaranteed at both ends.
They get the money worth here, don't they?
Absolutely. 1-1, 28 minutes played. And that goal coming at a time when Tottenham were looking pretty good for more in this first half.
You've got to be so careful, and I'm sort of thinking, well, Gibbs White, not quite seen enough of him, but we had already seen Elanga 2 or 3 times get in behind Udogie, not necessarily having to take him on in a one-on-one situation, but just playing little 1-2s, watching that ball, going behind, using his pace, and they did that there, worked it really well down the right-hand side.
Here is Maddison, midway inside the Forest half. 1-1 here with 29 minutes played on Talksport. It's been another dramatic day in the Premier League, and there's been drama here already in the opening half hour. Romero finding Porro once again, and the cross in was just deflected, which gave Wood time to really set himself and drive in that finish. He didn't have to clip it, did he? Because it sat up absolutely perfectly for a striker.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've got a striker there in complete form at the moment, and not having to think. When you're in the zone, you don't think. And he just realised he knew what he had to do instinctively. And again, the connection was brilliant. Through Porro's legs. How often do you see that through a defender's legs? The keeper.
And we will be back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next week. On Sunday, Tottenham Hotspur women make history, their first ever FA Cup semi-final. They'll be facing Leicester City here. There'll be commentary on Talksport 2 at midday. But if you want to be at the game, tickets are available at TottenhamHotspur.com. £15 for adults, £5 for children, with the Lionesses Beth England and Grace Clinton among those who should be playing. You can get your tickets from TottenhamHotspur.com. And Talksport 2 is the place next Sunday for both Women's FA Cup semi-finals. I'll be here alongside Courtney Sweetman-Kirk for Spurs against Leicester. And Joe Shannon and Remy Allen will be bringing you Manchester United against Chelsea, which could be Emma Hayes' final trip to Wembley if they win that game. Now Nico Williams for Forest. Elanga again, gets it back from Williams, challenged though by Udogie, and he won the ball. Elanga throws up his arms, wants a free kick, but he was out of possession there and out of position, but the ball forward from Maddison doesn't find Song, and it's a throw-in.
You know what's really interesting about the philosophy of Ange Postecoglou, and he wants to play the same way, whatever. You know, again, I was here early in the season where they were down to 9 men and still playing that extremely high line. Lucky they didn't play against Liverpool or City, because that could have been 8 or 9, to be totally honest with you. But Elanga is the main threat, and Udogie is still moving into midfield, and there's still that counter-attack issue. You know, Mickey van der Ven has to come across and watch out more, or maybe Udogie has to sit in, but clearly Ange says this is the way we play.
Now Son on the edge of the penalty area, it could open up for him here, driven wide, finding Werner on the left, but the cross balloons high over the top into those delighted Forest fans behind the goal. 31 minutes played, 1-1 here. It's full time at Wembley. Here's Talksport's Ian Abrahams.
Finish Peterborough 2, Wycombe 1. Harrison Burrows, the skipper, is the hero for Peterborough. 4 minutes from the end, he fired home the first from the left-hand side of the penalty area. That looked like being the winner until 2 minutes later, Wycombe sub Dale Taylor volleyed home from 22 yards out. With extra time looming though, Burrows on the touchline, whipped it a cross-come shot that deceived the goalkeeper and won the cup for Peterborough. It finished Peterborough 2, Wycombe 1.
And when they played at Wembley, Peterborough, they have never lost. There's a goal kick for Forest. It's hammered downfield by Sales. 32 minutes played. 1-1 here on Talksport. Another high ball played forward again for Forest. That high line is being ruthlessly exposed at times by the pace of Hudson-Odoi and Alanga, and that's what created the goal. And now Spurs have given the ball away, and it's Aina coming forward. Great pace from him down the left-hand side. The cross in there was blocked by Porro, and it's behind for a Forest corner.
It's amazing how the atmosphere changes, isn't it? 1-0 up, looking as if they're going to go on and get the second. This place was absolutely bouncing. Now it's just a little bit stunned, a little bit quiet, seeing how good Forest are on the counter-attack, the pace that they've got, the finishing of Chris Wood. And now they've got a corner.
And Spurs have conceded from corners in 6 of their last 13 games in the Premier League. It didn't happen at all in the first 17 games of the season. And it will be taken by Morgan Gibbs-White on the far side. An in-swinger from the Forest left. Gibbs-White, the delivery, whipped in, headed away by Pedro Porro, only as far as Hudson-Odoi, who fails to control initially, then slips under pressure from Son, but does well to play it back towards Williams. A high ball wide to the far side, taken down one on the chest by Gibbs-White. He can attack, drives the cross into the penalty area, and it's headed away by Sarr, and Forest have a throw-in, and we have 11 minutes to play in the first half here on Talksport, and it really has been a half of 2 quarters.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's game on now, isn't it? It's a difficult one to call. And now Forest are just having a little bit more of the ball, not really through Tottenham wanted them to.
And now another opportunity. Aina plays it low for Yates. Yates with a shot. Brilliant save by Vicario. And then it's pinged off the post by Wood. Forest still coming. Gibbs-White with the effort. And it's wide. And Chris Wood there with a glorious opportunity to make it 2-1 to Forest. But inside the 6-yard area, the angle was tight. And he hammered the ball against the inside of the post. And Spurs almost gifting Forest another goal.
Oh, what a chance. He won't get a better chance than that. I can see what he's trying to do. Aina's down the left. He's cut the ball back. Yates has the shot. Vicario's just tipped it. Not even wide, really. It's half a yard away. He's thinking, right, I've got to get it over Vicario, but I can't dink it. I've got to try and hit it hard. But by hitting it too hard, he's not quite got the precision. He's literally 2 yards out. And he's hit the post and it's bounced away. What an opportunity.
Goodness me. 35 minutes played, 1-1. Now it's Werner for Spurs on this near side, looking for Maddison. But the ball is shepherded behind by Yates, and it will be a goal kick. 61,098, the crowd here this evening. It was a good save by Vicario, a really good save looking at the monitor here in the stadium, but Wood tried to burst the net when really he just had to play the ball over the goalkeeper, who was on the ground, and Nuno in the technical area left exasperated.
Yeah, Nuno's looking up at the stars and thinking, what on earth happened there? The guy that has been so clinical since he's come in, you wouldn't want it to fall to anyone else, and he's just tried to hit it too hard. Vicario, it was a good save, you have to say, and because it's gone just a little bit outside of the stick, out between the two sticks, it's not as if he can just simply pass it. He's got to get it over Vicario, but still he should be scoring from there.
And after us later on this evening, Alan Pardew and Majestic will take your calls. 08717 223344 is the number, and we'll also bring you post-match reaction from the tunnel here live as well. But Tottenham, having taken the lead with an own goal, conceded the equaliser, they are second best here at the moment. Hudson-Odoi, square towards Yates, and now wide to Williams again. Alanga takes over down the right-hand side. Williams tries to shovel the ball through the legs of Werner to release Elanga, but he's won the ball back, and now Danilo with an excellent ball wide to the right. First time cross in from Elanga is beyond Wood this time, and Porro is able to clear, and he just hammers the ball anywhere, really epitomising Spurs' rather scrambled state of mind at the moment. Now a back heel from Danilo to find Gibbs-White, and Forest in control on the halfway line.
Absolutely agree with you, Nigel. The fact that Pedro Porro didn't even look up and just hooked it high without even knowing where it was going shows exactly how much under pressure Spurs are right now. Credit to Forest, sorry Nigel, credit to Forest for the way that how much under pressure they were in the first 10-15 minutes. They conceded the first goal. You know, there's some shots looking like they'll possibly go and be 2-0.
And here is Elanga beyond the challenge of Basuma, hammers in the shot, and this time Vicario holds on inside the 6-yard area, and you can hear the rumbles of discontent from the Tottenham fans here.
Well, they're not only creating more chances than Spurs now, but they're controlling the tempo of the game. You know, normally it's like Spurs, okay, we'll have the possession, and if Forest looking to try and get the odd bit of scrap on a counter, but no, it's more than that. They're creating chances with the ball now, not just on the counter-attack.
Well, they've won 4 points in the 2 games since they lost 4 points due to the adjudication, as Son has it for Tottenham now. Inside the penalty area, left-hand side, Nico Williams looking to face him up, driven in by Son to the near post, but it's hammered away by Adderley. And now Werner with the fair hair, looking to take on Williams. He's gone beyond him, manages to deliver the cross in, which is sliced up in the air by Yates, but it will be a throw-in on this near side for Spurs, with 7 minutes to play in the first half here. And we'll be joining Majestic in the Talksport studios during half-time. A reminder, earlier on today, Rangers 3, Celtic 3. Rangers coming from 2 goals down. They also equalised in the closing seconds, and the title race is in their hands in Scotland. Manchester United 2, Liverpool 2. Arsenal top of the table after the weekend on goal difference, and it's currently 1-1 between Sheffield United and Chelsea, as Udogie looks to try and bring the ball forward here on this near side, but he's challenged by Adderley, and the final touch was off Udogie, and it will be a goal kick for Nottingham Forest, who have had more clear-cut chances in this game as the away team, and overall their record under Nuno not particularly impressive. 15 points in 14 games and only 2 points in 5 games away from home since they won at Newcastle with that hat-trick from Chris Wood back on Boxing Day.
Yeah, they've not won this calendar year yet away from home, have they? Well, I'll tell you what, they'll probably still take a point right now, but the way they're playing at the moment, they look the most likely to get the next goal.
Well, they still got Everton, Sheffield United and Burnley all to play away from home. And they're at home to Wolves next, which will be live on Talksport 2, 3 o'clock next Saturday.
Do you know what? Anyone who says they know what's going to happen with the title race, with the race for top 4,
Championship
and relegation and Championship, they're either a bluffer or they can tell me the 6 numbers coming up.
Or they've got a time
weekend.
machine, because we've got absolutely no idea.
Absolutely.
But you'll be able to follow it on the Talksport network over the next month or so. Aina now plays it wide to the far side for Forest. And Hudson-Odoi. He picks out Wood on the edge of the penalty area, holds it up. He was just looking to flick it wide towards Danilo to his left, but the challenge comes in from Brennan Johnson, who was back there defending. Now Vicario inside his 6-yard area tries to play the ball out to Van der Ven, and eventually Romero just hammers the ball straight out of play on this near side. There's a time and place, and that wasn't it.
Well, do you know what? It was the right idea to do it first time. It was just the fact that they are under pressure. He overplayed it. It was Vicario who actually put Van der Ven under pressure, and then he's played the ball to Romero inside the box. It was absolutely right to try and do it first time and bring it out to Udogie. But again, just because he is under pressure, he overplayed it.
And Udogie does well to clear the ball away under pressure inside the penalty area here to find Werner. He strides away from Elanga initially, back towards Udogie, and he's been caught by Wood, and it will be a free kick. Don't forget the Champions League is back this week on Talksport. We're live at the Emirates Stadium on Tuesday night for commentary of Arsenal against Bayern Munich with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Andy Townsend, as Spurs come forward now on the far side with Johnson, cuts infield, the cross to the far post, doesn't find a white shirt, and it will be a goal kick. Then on Talksport 2 on Tuesday. It is Real Madrid against Manchester City with Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce. On Wednesday night we will have PSG against Barcelona on Talksport 2 at 8 o'clock, and we'll be around the grounds on a big night in the Championship, the Champions League and the Scottish Premiership from 7 o'clock on Talksport. Thursday night it's the Europa League on Talksport at 8 o'clock, Liverpool against Atalanta with Sam and Dean Ashton. And on Talksport 2, Jim and Ray Houghton will bring you Bayer Leverkusen against West Ham. Bayer Leverkusen could be champions next weekend in Germany as well.
Yeah, still yet to be defeated. Let's hope the Hammers do it.
Well, if they do, then maybe David Moyes will get some credit for this week. You never know. Here is Brennan Johnson finding Pedro Porro. Back towards Johnson again. And now Romero with 2.5 minutes to play in the first half here. And it's been another enthralling game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It is 1-1. But it could be 2-2. Probably 3-2 to Forest.
Yeah, I actually think in terms of chances, Forest should be leading. He'll be kicking himself for that Chris Wood chance.
Now Son. Wide towards Brennan Johnson again. Basuma with a high raking ball wide to the left hand side, and Werner, and now Maddison again, and Basuma takes over in a central area 25 yards out. Maddison to his left, and now Werner again, and Spurs looking to pull Forest apart, but they are incredibly disciplined without the ball. And it's significant that the one goal so far came as a result of an own goal. As Romero comes forward now, there's a Forest player down inside the penalty area, but Tottenham entitled to play on. Here is Romero, wide towards Johnson. Johnson finding Son on the edge of the penalty area, forced onto the right foot, wide to Johnson. The cross is deflected onto the crossbar, and it's a corner kick in the end. Almost another own goal from Forest, and it was Oleraina this time, but Yates was down inside the penalty area throughout all of that.
Well, he's claiming, he's pointing towards VAR and say that he was punched. Now, I didn't see that, but it'd be interesting to have a look at the replay. He believes that VAR should be looking at this and seeing what happens, and Romero's the first one up, but you never know when it's him.
Well, we're watching here. Well, there was certainly contact on the edge of the penalty area.
James Maddison, isn't it?
Maddison. Was there a rabbit punch from Yates?
There was a half a rabbit punch from Maddison, and I'm not in any way condoning that, but not enough to go down.
Well, Yates was down there, and he stayed down throughout the entirety of that Tottenham attack, which ended with Aina slicing the ball onto his own crossbar. And he's still talking to Simon Hooper, and Simon Hooper is clearly being talked to by Michael Salisbury as well.
It was a punch, whether you call it half punch, proper punch, whatever. It's something that Maddison shouldn't have been doing. Yates got really tight to him. It just depends how they want to manage this situation.
Well, Maddison is now being called over by Simon Hooper. He and Yates are both having words on the edge of the penalty area, and we're into a minimum of 3 more minutes while this is going on.
Well, I actually think this is good refereeing, but to the letter of the law, he would have been entitled to send James Maddison off. Because he has clearly, and it was a very weak punch, and he's gone, whether he's gone down or not, he shouldn't be doing that, Maddison, but I don't really want to be seeing players sent off for that.
Well, there was a word and a handshake, and it's dealt with. The corner from Tottenham into the near post. Marilla is there to head the ball away. Maddison wins it back, boost for him, and now Porro with a high ball in, and Sells wasn't too sure where that was going, but in the end waves it behind, and it will be a goal kick for Tottenham. Boos, of course, from the Forest fans on the far side for James Maddison, who was a former Leicester player, was always going to get it anyway.
Yeah, we didn't really sort of touch on the fact that they did hit the crossbar with that deflected cross. Sells had gone down and was almost, you could see as he went down, it's almost like, oh please no, don't go in. He's hit the crossbar and just gone over.
A reminder, Rangers 3, Celtic 3, Manchester United 2, Liverpool 2 in the Premier League earlier on. It is 1-1 behind 1-1 between Sheffield United and Chelsea, and Peterborough have beaten Wickham late on to take the EFL trophy. as Basuma comes forward now for Tottenham. Late in the first half here, looks to pick out Maddison, but it's quickly cut out by Adderley. Now Wood holds it up again, and here is Nico Williams. Alanga back in field towards Williams, who can stride forward. He was caught there by Udogie as Williams looked to try and play the ball into the central area where Wood was waiting, and it will be a free kick here for Forest, and there may just be time to take it.
Yeah, again, really good play down the right hand side from Forest. Nico Williams and Alanga, they work together so well, don't they? Just able to play a little 1-2 around Udogie, who felt that he got back, but Nico Williams has looked up, just about to try and play a crossfield ball, and he's caught Udogie's leg. It's a definite foul, but I'm so impressed with Forest after that first initial 10-15 minutes where they were really under pressure and conceded that first goal.
And now they're coming forward from that free kick. Alanga down the right, the cross into the penalty area, tipped over his own crossbar by Vicario, and Vicario bawling out his defenders who allowed that free kick to be taken quickly on this near side, and nobody stopped the cross, and Vicario there was scrambling to stop it from just dropping under the crossbar.
Well, Alanga has been absolutely superb in this first half. Quick free kick with the outside of the boot, and Alanga gets to the byline. Not many would have made it in the first place. Think to the far post, and Vicario does the right thing, and just a little booze around the stadium now, realising their team's under pressure.
Corner kick for Forest, right at the end of added time in the first half. Gibbs White with the in-swinger, high to the far post, and it's glanced away by Udogie, and it will be a throw into Forest if there is time to take it here. Fascinating first half here with the prospect of more to come at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs usually have to come from behind to win games here. They've been doing that with regularity in recent weeks, but a different story here so far today. The early lead gifted to them, quickly pegged back, and Forest have been the better team since. A long throw for Minor, deep into the penalty area, claimed by Vicario, and that is half-time. And the Forest supporters on the far side rise to applaud their team, because Forest ending the first half on top, falling a goal behind. Timo Werner's excellent cross in, diverted into his own net by Murillo, but Forest level with Alanga's ball in down the right-hand side, took a crucial deflection, and it sat up perfectly for Chris Wood to slam the ball low beyond Vicario. Wood has also hit the post from incredibly close range after Vicario turned aside an initial shot, and Tottenham at the moment heading in slightly relieved not to be behind against a side who are fighting relegation. Half-time here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It is Spurs 1, Forest 1 on Talksport.
Thank you, Nigel. Yeah, you're always guaranteeing goals at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Scott, Spurs finally get the first goal in a game, but they've allowed Forest back into this game. They've grown, and I think Spurs can be relieved at half-time. Scott, as a defender, Udogie allowed Alanga so much space and time on that overlap into Woods. How poor was that from him?
Yeah, hi, Madge. Absolutely. Look, I think it's the way that Ange wants his fullbacks to play, and he's kind of just following what the gaffer's saying. We know that when it goes well, it looks really good, and it did in the first 10-15 minutes, but Alanga's the danger man,
yeah,
without a doubt. And, you know, this is where I love watching Spurs play. I love what Ange has done, the way he's turned it around so much. I'm sure you do, you know, watching Spurs now. But that he's the danger, Alanga.
Yeah.
You've got to stop him and get as close to him as possible, and he's just able, along with Nico Williams as well, play 1-2s around him or just exploit that pace in behind. We know he's quick. Sometimes there's a day where you say, listen, if I beat my man here on an individual basis, I take out maybe 25% of their team, and he's not able to do that at the moment. Alanga's been the star man of that first half.
And of course, earlier on as well, you know, the early goal for Spurs, it quietened down the Forest away fans. You're thinking Spurs are going to grow into this game. A great save from Sells from close range from Son. And then they get the 1-0, and like you say, Chris Woods with such an opportunity to go 2-1 ahead. Spurs are lucky at half-time.
Oh, what a chance that was. And, you know, it was a really good finish from Chris Wood to make it 1-1, but he'll be thinking about the miss, not the goal that he scored, you know, because that's a wonderful opportunity. And obviously if Forest lose, and we've spoken about how important it is, this game for Nottingham Forest, just, you know, out of the drop zone on goal difference going into this particular match. And look, a point I still think would be a very good point, but if they were to lose this, then Chris Wood will be having a sleepless night tonight for sure, despite him already being on the score sheet.
What does Nuno do in the second half, Scott? Because, you know, they're so disciplined at the back. The low block's working really well. Spurs are finding it difficult to break down. But as you say, they can go and get 3 points from this game, which they could do, because, as we've mentioned, Alanga's really been a danger man. Is it stick or twist for Nuno?
Oh, he does not do a thing.
Yeah.
He didn't want half-time. Well, no, he didn't want half-time, because actually, you know, we're talking about Forest are the team that looks the most likely to go and get the next goal. And they feel confident that perhaps they can go on and get the win. He's in there right now saying, do you know what, lads, just do exactly what you're doing. Try and make yourself difficult to beat. I think in the early part of the game, Timo Werner was allowed too much time out wide and to get into the box. What he is capable of doing, and sometimes his left foot crossing isn't the best, as we've seen today, but sometimes it can be very good. You know, 1 with the goal, and then 2 with Brennan Johnson, who nearly scored as well to make it 2-0, and that would have been a very important goal. But apart from that, they've been absolutely superb. They've been very disciplined. Ryan Yates is dropping in, making it a 5. Danilo's sitting in front of them. The sort of flair players are working really hard defensively, but they're counter-attacking really good. And what's really impressed me is it's not just about their counter-attack in the last 20 minutes of the game. They're bossing it in midfield. And the fans around here, the atmosphere has completely changed. It really has, from, you know, really going for it, really happy with what they're seeing, to suddenly not just silence, but a few boos going round as we're getting towards half-time.
Thank you, Scott. You're listening to Game Day Exclusive, and we have all the second half action coming up. And I'll be joined by experienced Premier League manager Alan Pardew for his views on the first half, next on Talksport.
Game Day Exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
We all fantasize about our perfect home, sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Uno is now available in McDonald's Happy Meal. So let's see who can shout Uno first.
Bring it on.
Yes. Ooh, no! A wild card! Right. Yes, back in the game. Yes! Ooh, no! Draw 1 card.
Uno. Better luck next time.
Have fun with your Uno cards. Does that one count?
Nope.
Oh. Some fun, some food. It's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 7th of May from 11 a.m. Includes 1 pre-selected book or toy. Uno range comprises toys only, while stocks last.
Don't break your stride. Get to Screwfix for the latest offers on the brands you love. Like the new and exclusive limited edition DeWalt 100-year 18-volt combi drill with 4 amp-hour battery for just $119.99. And keep everything stacked and packed with a DeWalt T-Stack organizer at a great price of only $19.99. Shop now on the app at screwfix.com or in-store. Delivery fees may apply. Prices valid until at least 6th of May, subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
There will be 14 minutes of extra time.
With Betfair's 90-minute payout, you don't have to wait for the final whistle to celebrate, because your winning bet will be paid out in full at 90 minutes. Betfair.
Applies to match odds 90 market or markets with the 90 icon. Sportsbook exclusive. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
When the kids eat us out of house and home, we just eat groceries from Sainsbury's.
Yeah, shopping's here. Give me one.
When do they leave home?
Get Sainsbury's, Asda and Co-op delivered for free. For groceries and everything else.
Did somebody say just please?
Participate in stores. A minimum spend applies. Other charges apply. Subject to availability. See justeat.co.uk for details.
Hope there won't be any VAR delays today. Heard that rumour about their striker.
Can't wait to see what the pundits make of that booking. Looking forward to the match report on this one.
When it comes to football, never miss a story. Get the best news, opinion, interviews and gossip at thesun.co.uk. For the football lowdown every day, it's thesun.co.uk.
Sunday session on Talksport with Now. Stream the Premier League, contract free with a Now Sports Day or month membership. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker. Kick-off live on Talksport.
And we are underway here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. An unusual kick-off time, but this will have an impact at both ends of the table. Werner deep inside the penalty, across the face of goal, and it's an own goal by Murillo. And the player who went for goal from 70 yards at one end has scored an own goal at the other. The low ball in, looking for Wood, and Chris Wood drives in the equaliser. He has been absolutely red hot.
Good evening, you listen to the Game Day exclusive here on Talksport with me, Majestic, the only place on national radio you can hear commentary of Spurs versus Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. And the second half kicks off very soon with the score currently 1-1. An unusual kick-off time and an unusual thing for Spurs to take the lead at home these days, but 1-1 at the moment. And now there's another Premier League game going on as let's get all the latest news on Sheffield United versus Chelsea from Talksport's Alan Biggs.
Yes, Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 2. Chelsea have gone back into the lead here with a terrific goal from Noni Madueke, who received the ball from Cole Palmer, who's been very much the creator-in-chief again for Chelsea today. A run into the box from the right-hand side, and then a fierce left-foot strike which caught out Ivo Grbić, actually flashed inside his near post as Grbić was moving across his goal, anticipating a strike to the other side. But that actually has been an isolated threat from Chelsea, who've had all the defending to do in this second half. Very impressive spell from Sheffield United in all but the finishing. There was a great chance set up by Brereton Diaz for Ollie McBurney, a header from 6 yards which he put right wide, and then Gus Harmer, one of their most creative forces in midfield, with a rocket of a shot from the edge of the box which flew just a whisker wide. So Chelsea were living dangerously at that point. They needed the goal to take some of the pressure off them at the back. I have to say it's been a pretty impressive performance from Sheffield United since they fell behind early in the first half to Thiago Silva. The Jayden Bogle goal got them level, but now Chelsea are in front. But I think there's more to come in this game. It's been exciting, this second half in particular. It's Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 2.
Thank you, Alan. And before the second half gets underway at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, let's get the latest from Betfair.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Get a completely free Acura bet builder on football this weekend. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds of 1.5 on minimum one leg. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Alex, an entertaining game for the neutrals at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not for me as a Spurs fan, seeing some of that defending. What's the odds for this, please, Alex?
Yes, mate. Well, you'd be happy to know there's still 4-6 odds on to come out and win this second half, but you have to be worried with the way Forest finished that first half. They're 5-1, but be warned, Forest fans, only Sheffield United have picked up fewer away points in the Premier League this season than you guys. So 5-1 if you fancy Forest. The draw is 23-10. Looking at some of the players' stuff, Destiny Udogie has been boosted to 6-1 to be booked in the second half. He's already got 5 yellows this season and has really struggled to handle Anthony Elanga in the first half. He's committed a couple of fouls, so 6-1 for him to be booked. While the real battle has been Maddison against Yates. Yates has been booked. Maddison threw one in on him at the end of that first half that VAR had a little look at. He wasn't penalised. But if you want to head to the bet builders, you could combine Maddison to commit one foul, Maddison to score or be shown a card, and over 3.5 goals total in the match. That comes to 8-1 on the Betfair Sportsbook.
Not bad at all. Thank you, Alex. That's the odds updates. All thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Get a completely free Acura bet builder on football this weekend. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds of 1.5 on minimum one leg. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Coming up after our live coverage of Spurs versus Nottingham Forest, it's the final word phone-in with me, Majestic, and the experienced Premier League manager, Alan Pardew. Book your calls right now on 03717 223344. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of Manchester United and Liverpool fans wanting to speak to us after that barnstormer of a game that finished 2-2 earlier on as the title race took yet another turn. Let's now hear from both managers, starting with Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp, who says it's a game on in the title race.
Game on. We're in the middle of it, so that's how it is. So I know. We had that years ago. We said if it's too nervy for you, go and travel somewhere where you have no television, no radio, no internet, nothing, and then come back in 6-7 weeks. And but being in it is actually the best position ever. So again, it's not only for us that it's difficult. It is for the others difficult as well. So, and they have to play important games. We have to play important games. And United against Liverpool is a special game. I would have loved to win today, but I take the point and we keep going.
Then Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag spoke to Talksport's chief football correspondent Alex Crook about the last two chaotic games.
I think when you play against Chelsea, also when you play against Liverpool, two teams. They play from chaotic. Then you can't avoid this. Both three teams, they want to play. They are all brave. They go forward, but they leave spaces, and then you get a transition game. And that is what we have seen in the two games we have seen in the last 3-4 days.
That was the Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag speaking to Talksport's chief football correspondent Alex Crook. The gaffer's back. Alan Pardew, he's been skiing, but he's back now. Pards, that Liverpool-Manchester United game had it all. That's what you expect from a Manchester United-Liverpool game. And, of course, our man that we looked to, Mainu, popped up.
Mainu. Well, it was an unbelievable goal. But, you know, you have to say that all three games have been so topsy-turvy, haven't they? You don't know where they're going to go. No. I mean, the Liverpool game, Liverpool-Man United, it looked like, you know, it was set in stone that Liverpool were going to go on and win 2-3-0. And then at half-time, it all changed round. A couple of magic moments in terms of the two goals, and suddenly it was like game on, and Liverpool struggling, looking like, it might not happen for them. And then these games have been exactly the same. Spurs are sort of, you know, at it, not at it.
Yeah, looks like a change with Højbjerg and Bentancur coming in. Yeah. That midfield really did need sorting out. Just quickly, we've had some real sad news, of course, in regards to Joe Kinnear. Just had the following statement from the family of Joe Kinnear. We're sad to announce that Joe passed away peacefully this afternoon, surrounded by his family. Joe, who was 77, had been suffering from dementia, having been diagnosed in 2015. He'll be remembered fondly by many, both as a player and a manager. His Wimbledon team finishing, of course, 6th in the 93-94 Premier League season was a phenomenal achievement.
I worked with Joe, of course. He was technical director when I was at Newcastle as manager. He come in, and Joe had a couple of difficult months there, really, a few months, but he was a real honourable fella, and you know, his career speaks for itself.
Absolutely. Now the players are out at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so let's head back over to our match commentators, Nigel Adderley and Scott Minto.
Thanks, Majestic. And Tottenham making two changes at the start of the second half at the heart of their midfield. Rodrigo Bentancur and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg coming on. And just to continue about that news, we've heard the sad passing of Joe Kinnear, Scott Minto. Of course, here at Tottenham, he was part of a very good team in the 60s and 70s, won the UEFA Cup and the FA Cup as well, and of course he played in your position, left back.
Absolutely, he played a big impact, or made a big impact, both as a player, a coach and a manager as well. So yeah, it's extremely sad news.
And it's Tottenham who get the second half underway here. 1-1 at home to Nottingham Forest, in a game that both teams really need to win for differing reasons. And it's significant that Postecoglou has made changes to his midfield, because the longer the first half went on, the less effective Spurs were in the engine room. As they try and come forward now, attacking the south stand away to our right, but Werner, though, and Udogie have lost out, and there is a counter-attack here for Forest, and it's Williams and Elanga who have linked up very well down their right-hand side, but it comes to nothing on this occasion. So the Spurs team now is Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Udogie. The heart of midfield is Bentancur and Højbjerg, with Johnson, Maddison and Werner behind Son in attack. No changes for Forest. Sells is the goalkeeper, Williams, Adderley, Murillo and Aina the back four. as Tottenham try and come forward again now with a low cross in, which is deflected behind Maddison, denied by Yates, but it will be a corner, and it will be Danilo and Yates in midfield for Forest. Elanga, Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi behind Wood in attack. First corner of the second half for Spurs, and Forest have conceded the most set-piece goals in the Premier League this season, 20. It's played short to Højbjerg. He takes a shot, it's deflected, and it's saved brilliantly by Sells, arching his back to tip the ball away for a corner.
Wow, what an early touch that would be coming onto the pitch. Look, I'm not surprised changes have been made in midfield. Maybe slightly eyebrows raised for both of them being taken off, but we talked about how Forest have not only created chances but dominated the tempo of the game.
Again, it's played short towards Højbjerg, and now wide towards this near side, and Pedro Porro again for Tottenham. 2 minutes played in the second half here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Talksport. Spurs 1, Forest 1 in the Premier League, on a day when Liverpool have dropped points at Old Trafford. But Chelsea currently ahead in their game against Sheffield United, as it's played forward by Johnson on this near side, and the challenge comes in from Aynep, and it will be a goal kick in the end. And Brennan Johnson had that early chance to make it 2-0, but Forest have dealt with him pretty well since then.
Yeah, and by the way, as they dominated, not as if dominated the first half, but certainly dominated the last 20 minutes, Nottingham Forest, the tempo of the game. And yeah, we haven't really spoken about Brennan Johnson, have we? Up against his former club, he'll want to make an impression, but it also, even more importantly, he'll want to just make an impression on his manager, on his fans as well. When he's come on as a substitute, he does make a difference, but does he justify a starting 11? That's what he's wanting to do.
Well, he's been the most effective sub in the Premier League this season. Williams with the cross in now, Wood with a free header wide, should have scored. He was offside in the end, and that spares his blushes. The cross played in from Nico Williams, and there were two Forest players completely unmarked, Elanga and Wood, and they were both offside in the end, but irrespective of that, Wood should have hit the target.
Well, absolutely. Stick the ball in the back of the net and then look and see if the flag goes up. And it does spare his blushes a little bit, and with someone who loves a headed goal as well, that's a bad miss for him.
Most headed goals in the Premier League this season from Chris Wood. Scored with his feet earlier to equalise the own goal from Murillo. Spurs ahead for 9 minutes, and during that time Brennan Johnson denied by a brilliant save from Matt Sells to make it 2-0. Now Werner coming forward again down the left-hand side. The cross in is fisted away, and at the far post, Brennan Johnson off balance volleys the ball high over the top.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because it's really pinged in, but it's been a better start from Spurs. We know they love scoring at the start of the second half. In the first 15 minutes, it's a really good cross from Werner. There's a little touch from Sells, and it's coming at him, Brennan Johnson, in the way that he's not going to be able to get his leg up there. He's either going to have to head the ball first time or try and chest it and bring the ball down. In the end, he's trying to get his leg up and couldn't control the ball.
And already the Spurs crowd are on the back of Sells for what they deem to be time wasting at the start of the second half. 49 minutes played here on Talksport. Spurs 1, Forest 1. And it's played forward by Murillo, whose blushes were spared by Chris Wood midway through the first half, but it's given away from Tottenham once again as Williams comes forward wide to this near side. Porro slides in to make the challenge. His clearance actually rebounds off Romero, but kindly for Tottenham, and in the end Aynep on this near side will just clip the ball off Pedro Porro, and it will be a throw-in to Forest. And these are the early thoughts in the second half of Scott Minto.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you know, Luton, fantastic character they showed to come back and win that game yesterday, and now put really a lot of pressure on Nottingham Forest. And we know that Forest have had 4 points deducted, but I'm watching them play and I'm thinking, how on earth are they down there? Because in terms of this performance, it's a really confident, everyone knowing what their job is, defensive and then going quickly into attack performance from this Forest side, and the fans who have travelled must be absolutely loving this.
Well, they've only won 10 points away from home so far this season. A long throw in from Minto into the penalty area, and again it was Chris Wood with a close range header, but no power behind it, and it's claimed by Vicario. He quickly bowls it out. Werner's away for Tottenham down the left hand side. Gibbs-White comes back to him to make the challenge, and now Udogie on the halfway line. Infield to Maddison. Maddison slips it through to Son, who's been very quiet in the game so far. Adderley makes the challenge, strides away from him and then clips it straight out of play. But Wood at the other end may believe he should have scored again.
Do you know what? I think it's a difficult one for him because he's having to generate the power as well. Yes, he's only 4 yards out and he's almost bang in front of the goal, but he's still having to almost stretch his neck and create that power from the long throw and the flick on. It's an easy save in the end.
Now Pedro Porro drives it low into the penalty area. There's by-play again between Yates and Maddison, who goes down inside the box. Play continues. Maddison was the only person to really appeal. Now Pedro Porro again, down the right, the low cross into the penalty area. Hammered away by Murillo, and it will be a corner kick.
It's been a really good start to the second half. As I say, Spurs love an early goal at the start of the second half. It's only first 15 minutes of it. Maddison feels he should have had a penalty, it wasn't.
Here is Maddison now from the short corner. Back towards the taker, Pedro Porro. And now Brennan Johnson inside the penalty area. Square to Son on the edge of the box. Further square to Van der Ven! Mickey Van der Ven with an absolute cracker for Spurs. They love him for his defending, but they love him for his scoring there. The central defender hammering the ball in from the edge of the penalty area. Only his second goal for Tottenham, but it could put them into the top four. Tottenham 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
Well, how on earth was he allowed that amount of time and space on the edge of the box? It's a short corner. It's played out to Maddison. It's played back to Porro. They're not getting the ball in. Johnson, I think he's going to have a shot. He doesn't. Danilo tries to get tight to Son, who in the end, he could have tried to get half a yard and have a shot himself, but he knew exactly that Van der Ven was in a better position. He's on his left foot. No one's within 2 or 3 yards. Danilo's having to leave Son and go towards Van der Ven. No one's engaging. And once he takes that touch and has a strike, the big centre half with the strike that he has, the keeper's not stopping that. No one's stopping that. Top corner. And we said, didn't we, about the start of the second half, about how Spurs are good at scoring goals and coming at them. He didn't expect Van der Ven to be the man to score, but what a strike it was, and Spurs have been very good since half-time.
His first goal in this stadium, his previous Premier League goal came at Kenilworth Road, maybe the polar opposite in the Premier League in terms of surroundings, if not atmosphere. And Romero and Van der Ven have been absolutely key to the way that Spurs try and play. And Van der Ven, key to them moving back into the top four with that goal there. And 13 of Spurs' last 15 goals in the Premier League have come in the second half of games. They are so often a team which maybe have to rely on a reset from Postecoglou at half-time. But they've won 7 of their previous 8 games at home in the Premier League, and they quickly look to increase their advantage here. But Aina has been chopped down by Johnson, and it will be a free kick on this near side for Forest. And if you're Nuno, he stood there like a teapot with the arms on the hips just in front of us. You play well in the first half, you should be ahead, you've had chances early in the second half, and then you don't close down a central defender who hammers the ball in.
I thought you were going to start singing that song then. I'm a little teapot.
No. Here is Williams coming forward now for Forest. A high ball in, volley towards goal by Hudson-Odoi, but into the side netting.
Do you know what? I said to Madge at half-time, he wouldn't have wanted half-time to come because Forest were the better side, and you know what you get with Spurs. You know they'll come at you in the second half.
A long ball forward now from Pedro Porro, looking out for Son, who was heading towards goal, but it's nodded clear by Murillo, and the Spurs fans in great voice now. They were grumbling, heading towards half-time.
And it's a corner, and it's a short corner, and there's 4 or 5 passes before the ball actually comes to Van der Ven, and no one's got tight. You know, Danilo's having to get tight in the end to Son, and then he's the one having to leave Son once he passes it and engage to Van der Ven. Someone else has got to come out and stop the strike.
55 minutes play. Spurs leading 2-1 on Talksport as Danilo plays it back towards Gibbs White again for Forest on the edge of the penalty area. They're here in their change strip this evening of dark blue with orangey pink stripes, as it's flicked forward by Gibbs White looking for Danilo, but quickly cut out by Højbjerg. And now Hudson-Odoi looking to weave his magic, coming in field from the left-hand side, but he's given the ball away ultimately to Romero. Wide to this near side for Son, who gathers despite the attentions of Aina, and then Bentancur has been sent flying by Gibbs White, and it will be a free kick. The referee was looking to play the advantage, but he will come back and book Gibbs White for the challenge on Bentancur.
Yeah, it's a foul, there's no doubt about it. And now Forest again on the back foot like they were at the start of the first half. You can't come in like that whether you get the ball or not nowadays. It's a shame because I actually like those tackles, but they've been outlawed now, unfortunately.
Basically what you built your career on.
Well, you may say that, and I can possibly comment.
A reminder, in the closing stages at Bramall Lane, Chelsea leading Sheffield United by 2-1. And we shouldn't rule Chelsea out for a late challenge into the top 6. Although you have to question their consistency, Scott.
I was asked by Sam earlier on, is this it? Do you feel they'll crack on? I said, stop asking me that. It's about half a dozen times throughout the season we're expecting them to crack on, and they don't. Let's just see game by game. But if they can win that, then absolutely, after what happened on Thursday night, you never know.
Now Maddison for Spurs on the far side, heading towards the byline, cuts it back, Bentancur flicks it on, the volley from Pedro Porro! Spurs lead by 3-1, and it's the defenders who are finding the back of the net here in the second half. First Van der Ven, and now Pedro Porro, who slams the ball in. Matt Sells left exposed once again, and Spurs are heading into the top 4 in typically thrilling fashion. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Nottingham Forest 1.
Well, a goal down, as we saw in the first half. Forest are more than capable of coming back into it. 2 down now. It's going to be very, very difficult. And there's 3 players at the far post. And it's so Spurs at the moment, isn't it? That the Dogi's one of them and Porro's another. It's Maddison who's got there from the left. Bentancur has got the flick on. And I tell you what, Pedro Porro's got a wonderful strike on him. We've seen him score some fantastic goals, and that's
not a bad one. He got the one here against Burnley, didn't he?
Absolutely.
In the FA Cup.
What a worldie that was.
But it's his first Premier League goal. Pedro Porro. And in the space of 5 minutes, Forest's Sunday evening has disintegrated.
I saw him play for Sporting a lot. I mean, it's probably his ideal position is wing back. He's definitely better going forward than he is being an out-and-out full-back, but he can certainly do both. It's brilliant, you have to say, and look, the stats will say it. We've been saying it. The first 15 minutes of the second half, Spurs the half come at you, and you've got to be able to deal with it. And Forest quite simply haven't been able to.
Goals from Mickey van der Ven and Pedro Porro in the space of 6 minutes. And we look back on the first half when Chris Wood equalised and then hit the post from 2 yards. Had that gone in, it could have been a very different story.
It's a big moment, that, isn't it? And we'll, look, still plenty of the game left, but again, we were talking at half-time that he won't just be thinking about the goal, he'll be thinking about the miss, especially if they don't win this game.
Now Gibbs White has been caught late on this near side, and it will be a free kick, and a yellow card has been shown to Rodrigo Bentancur, who I think is talking to Simon Hooper, the referee, about a challenge he received earlier on, which wasn't punished, but that one certainly has been.
And wasn't it just a few minutes ago where Gibbs White got a yellow card for foul on Bentancur?
Yeah.
Slight bit of revenge, I think.
And Bentancur is the first Spurs player into the book here, and we played an hour, and it's Tottenham Hotspur 3, Nottingham Forest 1. But the scoreline doesn't really tell the story, but Tottenham have scored 2 spectacular goals from defenders in the second half, really epitomising the way they play.
Absolutely. Tells you how Spurs can just blitz teams and how Ange wants his full-backs to get as forward as possible.
Gibbs White with the free kick into the penalty area. It's not being cleared initially and then hammered away inside the penalty area by Romero. They're into the 90th minute of Bramall Lane, where Chelsea still lead Sheffield United by 2-1. If they win that, they'll be 3 points behind Manchester United and still have a game in hand. High ball to the far post for Forest, and in the end Vicario just watches it as it drops onto the top of the crossbar. I think it was played in initially by Alanga, but it's behind it. It will be a goal kick.
Well, I'm just watching a replay of the Van der Ven goal, and he strikes it, and Sells doesn't even move. I mean, he's not getting anywhere near it. Williams tries to come out, but it's too late.
Tottenham really have the chase for it here. Udogie raiding from left back, wide towards Son inside the penalty area. Comes infield onto the right foot, tries to play the ball across the penalty area. Højbjerg with a block tackle to win it back. Now Maddison picking up the run inside the penalty area of Udogie. Maddison goes for goal, went for the short side at the near post and sees it deflected behind for a corner.
They're enjoying themselves now, aren't they? Now when you think about the last 15 minutes of the first half, this is completely different. The first 15 minutes of the second, they really have come out and blitzed Nottingham Forest, and they believe they can go and get the fourth.
Corner kick on this near side. 61 minutes played. Spurs leading 3-1 and enjoying themselves now after difficult moments either side of half time. Now Maddison wide towards Pedro Porro, who comes in field, creates the space for Johnson, and there's plenty of space now for Bentancur down the right. Maddison just sets himself for the cross, but cuts it back towards Pedro Porro. Now Højbjerg, he can line up the shot, but he slips as he hits it, and it's a comfortable save for Matt Sells in the end. And Tottenham at the moment look like they could score with every single attack. They lead Forest by 3-1, and here are the latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Tottenham at 40-1 odds on. Back Forest to win at 100-1. Back the draw at 20-1. Don't forget Betfair are paying out on winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute payout. Applies to match odds, 90 market, or markets with the 90 icon. All thanks to Betfair. 18 plus. Be gamble aware. We'll be off to Bramall Lane shortly, but Spurs are coming forward again now with Maddison. But his crossfield ball has been blocked by Yates. But there's been a very late goal at Bramall Lane. Here's Talksport's Alan Biggs.
It's Sheffield United 2, Chelsea 2. Ollie McBurney has plundered a stoppage time equaliser here. We haven't restarted. VAR checks every goal. It was a tight one, but I don't think from one replay that I saw that McBurney was offside. I think he was just onside when Archer's header reached him and he went beyond the Chelsea defence, but there is a check ongoing. Sheffield United really will feel they deserve to get a point from this. I'll be back with the outcome of it. Sheffield United 2, Chelsea 2.
Thanks, Alan. What were we saying about Chelsea's top six challenge?
Oh, goodness me. It's offside. If it's not offside, it's a foul. If it's not a foul, it's something else. It should be disallowed.
Well, there was
haven't even seen it.
Late drama at Stamford Bridge on Thursday, but a difficult story, or a different story at Bramall Lane today, as Aina cuts out the ball forward from Spurs on the edge of the penalty area. Gibbs White on the stretch, but he's lost out to Højbjerg, and the changes Postecoglou made at half-time have really stiffened up the midfield and given Spurs more resolve going forward. The low ball in from Brennan Johnson on the edge of the penalty area, but it's brought clear by Hudson-Odoi, but he can't link up with Wood. And now Van der Ven moving forward at pace again, the crowd urging him on. He rides one challenge, now finds Son wide towards the left-hand side, and there's an opportunity now for Werner. Werner with a low ball right through the 6-yard area, begging to be finished, but it's out on this near side for a throw-in.
See, that's the thing about Timo Werner, and people criticise him, and I understand why, because he doesn't score enough goals, but he's that right-footed left winger who's more than happy to go outside, and from a full-back's point of view, I can tell you that's so difficult, because you know really he wants to come inside. So you show him outside, but he's quite happy to go outside, and whipped in a wonderful ball. Someone's got to read that. It's a simple tap-in if they just get the touch.
Goal stands at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 2, Chelsea 2. Late on there, 3-1 to Spurs here, and you're listening to this game on Talksport with Now. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like this game live right now, contract free, with a Now Sports membership. Search Now Sports. Udogie wide towards Werner again, looking to hit the byline left hand side, back towards Udogie. Here is Maddison on the stretch, but it's flicked away by Danilo, who initially blocked the shot. Højbjerg finding Udogie again. And warm applause from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Spurs continue to control this game. Johnson finding Pedro Porro, coming in field from the right-hand side. It's all very narrow for Forest, and they're chasing shadows at the moment. Werner into the penalty area for Udogie, and it's just beyond him, and it will be a goal kick for Nottingham Forest. 65 minutes played. Don't forget, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, Talksport breakfast with Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor on duty. Alan will be there every single day this week. Phil Thompson, Peter Schmeichel and Dwight York will be looking back on the 2-2 draw between Manchester United and Liverpool. And that's between 6 and 10 tomorrow morning on Talksport. And Graham Souness will be joining Jim White and Simon Jordan to look back on that game. And I'm sure he will have memories of Joe Kinnear as well, as a former Tottenham teammate. The sad news that he has passed away today. Nico Williams drives a shot in for Nottingham Forest from way outside the penalty area, but it's some way wide as well, as Spurs prepare changes. And Chris Wood is the first player to come off, and Divock Origi will be coming on, and Nicolas Dominguez, the Argentinian international, will also be coming on as well, and Morgan Gibbs-White makes way for him. So like for like.
It's amazing though, isn't it? Probably your two best players or two most informed players coming into this game, and they get taken off. I think it goes to show what's happened in this second half, really. Chris Wood, yes, of course, he'd be disappointed he didn't get that second goal.
Could have had a hat-trick.
Could have had a hat-trick. Well, the header in the end was offside, but yeah, he should have stuck that one in the back of the net and just waited for the flag to go up. But absolutely, could at least have had two. But, got to do something different. As good as Gibbs-White has been in recent weeks, and he's been superb, he's been sensational. Not really been involved in this game. He's worked hard, but he's not been able to affect it, and have not been able to stop the tide that Spurs have come in the second half.
They're coming forward again now with Brennan Johnson. Slid wide to Bentancur. Pedro Porro with the cross, but the flag is up for offside. And it's a beautiful spring evening here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The far side illuminated by the evening sunshine.
It is lovely, isn't it?
You really get the benefit of British summertime when it's dry, don't you?
Absolutely. It's the first time in about 6 months it's dry. But at perfect conditions for footballers to play in.
Full time at Bramall Lane. Here's Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 2, Chelsea 2. The bottom team twice back from behind for a richly deserved point. It's a blow for Chelsea. Despite being 7 unbeaten, they led through Thiago Silva. Jayden Bogle levelled for the home team. It was Noni Madueke who spectacularly restored Chelsea's lead. But Ollie McBurney plundered a stoppage time leveller. Sheffield United 2, Chelsea 2.
Thanks, Alan. You must enjoy playing in conditions like this.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And
I'm not saying that 6 o'clock on a Sunday night is a good time to play Premier League football. Certainly not for the fans, but it is for the players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, forget the time, forget the day, forget the. It's just about the conditions, and it's not wet, it's not windy, it's not too hot. These are absolutely perfect conditions for footballers to play in.
Højbjerg was just caught late on the far side, and it will be a free kick for Spurs as we head towards the final 20 minutes, and you do feel as though home form will be key for Nottingham Forest, and they're at home to Wolves, live and exclusive to national radio on Talksport. 3 o'clock next Saturday, Talksport 2, and on Talksport at 12:30 we will have Spurs at Newcastle. Brennan Johnson with another wayward cross into the penalty area. Werner's quick enough to possibly keep the ball in play, but not even he on this occasion, and it will be a throw-in. And the Champions League is back this week. We're live from the Emirates on Tuesday. Arsenal against Bayern Munich with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Andy Townsend. Real Madrid against Manchester City will be on Talksport 2 with Sam and Stuart Pearce. And PSG Barcelona on Talksport 2 on Wednesday. Adrian will be around the grounds. Some big games in the Championship that night, as well as the Champions League and the SPFL as well. 3-3 draw in the Old Firm derby earlier on. Rangers equalising very late on thanks to Ravi Matondo, and they remain in possession potentially of the title, a point behind Celtic with a game in hand, which will be against Dundee on Wednesday. And on Thursday night in the Europa League, Liverpool against Atalanta, live on Talksport at 8 o'clock with Sam and Dean Ashton, and Jim and Ray Houghton will be on Talksport 2 bringing you Bayer Leverkusen against West Ham as Spurs try and build again on the far side. Werner, though, was just held up, and a yellow card has been shown to Nico Williams, who pulled him back.
Well, it's pure pace, isn't it? Williams has got his arm up. Okay, he's got his arm against Werner's arm and not really grabbed hold of him, but the fact that Werner has stopped. And when the referee is given a foul, you give a foul, you give a yellow card.
19 minutes to play. Majestic and Alan Pardew will be up after this game. 08717 333 233 get it right. Taking your calls on the day's action, and we'll also bring you live reaction from the tunnel here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Spurs currently lead by 3-1. We'll be back here next Sunday at noon. Tottenham Hotspur women in their first ever FA Cup semi-final. They'll be meeting Leicester, both teams looking to reach Wembley for the first time. You can buy your tickets at tottenhamhotspur.com. £15 for adults, £5 for children. Beth England and Grace Clinton, two of the Lionesses, who'll be on show for Spurs. tottenhamhotspur.com to get your tickets for that game. Both of the semi-finals from the Women's FA Cup. Spurs Leicester at 12, and at 2:30 Manchester United against Chelsea, and they will be live on Talksport 2 next Sunday. As Callum Hudson-Odoi has gone off the pitch on this near side, and he may require some treatment.
Yeah, he's gone close to the touchline. You can see that as he's laid the ball off, Pedro Porro has come down on him. He's gone down. It looks like a bit of a slope down there as well, doesn't it? So he's kind of rolled all the way down to the advertising boards.
Tottenham have one of those pitches that falls away quite significantly, quite quickly, rather like Old Trafford.
Absolutely.
And he's hobbling back onto the field of play, and we have 13 minutes to play here. Forest trailing 3-1, and if they aren't to stage a remarkable comeback, they need a goal fairly quickly. Nico Williams is over the free kick. He'll wrap his right foot around this, high in towards the 6-yard area, headed away by Romero. Son will try and break. It's nodded down towards Hudson-Odoi for Forest. And now Williams again, a low cross in which is blocked. And Spurs have the pace on the counter-attack. Johnson back again towards Porro. Good ball in field, quickly moved on by Bentancur. Maddison back towards Bentancur, and here is a doggy over the halfway line. Now Werner on the edge of the penalty area. Murillo initially clears, but then Werner picks up the loose ball, and it's back towards Bentancur again. And there is still eagerness from Spurs, even at 3-1 in the closing stages.
That's a shame it didn't end up in a goal, that, because that would have been one of the goals of the season. Almost everybody touching the ball, certainly really tight one-touch play at times, and playing from one side to the other. Timo Werner looked like he didn't even know Murillo was there.
74 minutes played, 3-1 to Spurs. You're listening to this game on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Now Ola Aina on this near side. Back to Murillo. All of these Spurs goals have been scored by defenders, including Murillo with the own goal to put them one up. That was equalised by Chris Wood before Van der Ven and Pedro Porro in quick succession before the hour mark. And there will be more changes coming up for Tottenham. Dejan Kulusevski, who scored in their 2-0 victory at the City Ground back in December, and Giovanni Lo Celso will be coming on shortly.
It's so Spurs right now, isn't it, that your defenders, okay, one of them was an own goal obviously, but the other two goals come from defenders.
Spurs, but not Spursy.
Not Spursy. Chelsea have become Spursy now, unfortunately.
15 minutes to play. There won't be too many Chelsea fans enjoying you saying that, but you look
I'm
at
not
the results.
enjoying saying that, trust me.
Substitution for Spurs, replacing number 16,
Timo Werner and James Maddison are the players who will be coming off. And Maddison gets a hug from Son, and he applauds all four sides of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, maybe not the Forest fans, as he makes his way off. Dejan Kulusevski will replace him, and once again Timo Werner always puts a shift in. And he gets some congratulations from Ange Postecoglou as Giovanni Lo Celso comes on.
Do you know what? You can criticise him for his lack of finishing, and that's fair enough, but he really adds a lot to a side. You can see why, at the moment, Ange is playing him as often as possible. He really does create a headache for defenders. Happy to go inside or outside. He makes a lot of assists.
And he takes the pressure off Son Heung-min, doesn't he?
He does.
Because they always look to him to play almost across the entirety of the forward line without players like Werner there.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Ange has tried to sort of deflect off going top 4 this season. I think whether they finish 4th or 5th, and I have always said I think they'll finish 4th, I think Villa will drop points, and we'll still wait and see on that one, because Spurs do have some difficult games between now and the end of the season. But, he's talked about he wants to be challenging for the title. Well, I think they need a real goal scorer. I'd put Son out left, which would mean it's a bit harsh on Werner, but I think if you're going to be talking about a title-winning side, which I still think they're a good few years away from, you need players, proper players in each position.
Now Lo Celso lifts it over the top left-hand side for Udogie. Kulusevski was in acres of space inside the penalty area. Here is Son, but in the end his square ball is cut out by Danilo, and Danilo seems to catch Lo Celso late there, and Danilo receives a yellow card. So it's a free kick for Spurs in a really good area, left of centre, about 20 yards out, and Lo Celso really felt that.
Well, it's the last thing he needs, coming off the bench, and suddenly you get a tackle like that. He's come through it. That's naughty. He's followed through, isn't he? I'll be interested to see if VAR will get involved in this one.
It was knee high from Danilo on Lo Celso.
I think slow motion makes it look really bad. And we know what VAR can be like. They can look at slow motion a lot. You've got to have a look at it. We haven't had a look at it again in real time.
Well, they're checking it.
Yeah, and if they keep on looking at it in slow motion, it's going to become a red. I just want to see in real time how that looked, because it can look a lot worse when you slow it down.
Well, Danilo is waiting here. And Michael Salisbury seemingly has had a look, and the yellow card stands.
Yeah, do you know what? Again, people could argue against it. Is it a clear and obvious error? We're sort of saying it could be off, it could be a red, could be a yellow. I think that shows it's not a clear and obvious error. I'd stick with the yellow personally as well.
Well, Højbjerg and Lo Celso are over this, and it's driven into the wall by Højbjerg, and it will spin behind, and it will be a corner kick for Tottenham with 11 minutes to play here on Talksport. Spurs leading by 3-1. Alan Pardew and Majestic will take your calls after this game. 08717 223344 is the number, and we'll also bring you live reaction from the tunnel here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Corner kick for Spurs on the far side, and it's a deep one, but Sales will claim, and every goal could be important here for Tottenham. We talk about goal difference in the title race. Arsenal currently ahead of Liverpool on goal difference. Spurs' goal difference is currently plus 20. Villa's is plus 17. So it could be tight.
Well, absolutely. You look at Arsenal as well. That's an extra point. I don't see anyone catching them from here on in. Obviously, Villa can catch Spurs in terms of that goal difference, but it does count. It really does. If they can go and get another one, then why not try for sure?
Ibrahim Sangare, the former PSV player, will be coming on, and it's Danilo who is coming off, which may be significant after that yellow card. And Giovanni Reina will also be coming on to replace Ryan Yates. So Nuno just changing up his options in midfield. Reina on loan from Dortmund, the American international with yet another player in the Premier League with a famous father. And he comes off the bench for the 6th time this season in the Premier League for Forest. Now Bentancur, one or two Tottenham fans beginning to drift away now with 10 minutes to play, leading by 3-1, but it's given away inside the penalty area dangerously. It falls for Rayner, looking to pick his way through. 6 yards out, Rayner's still in there, so too is Sangare, but it's Bentancur who pirouettes, and eventually he can clear, as Spurs did their best there to give Forest a way back into this game.
Well, he did well, Bentancur, there, absolutely. It was an opportunity for Forest. And look, 3-2, there's still a few minutes to go, absolutely enough time. 10 minutes plus injury time.
Because the game was rather drifted, and that's dangerous for Tottenham.
Yeah, sloppy, really sloppy. To be fair, even Bentancur, he did really well, sort of pirouetting, getting out the box, and then he gave the ball away outside it.
A high ball played forward again on the far side for Nico Williams, who wriggles away from the challenge of Udogie, looks to hit the byline. Van der Ven, though, with an excellent challenge to block the cross, and then Udogie will just shovel it wide to the far side, and Kulusevski will come in field, looking to use his pace. Højbjerg, whose error initially gave the ball away inside the penalty area, and now he's played it straight out of play to give Forest a throw-in.
Yeah, but how good is Van der Ven? I mean, forget the goal, just defensively.
And now Forest with an opportunity, but Dominguez tries to shake the ball in, curling the ball with the instep from the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, and it's comfortable for Bakaria.
Yeah, he's not going to beat him from there, but, you know, a one-on-one situation, he's got that pace. What is he, 6'3", 6'4", and yet he's still agile.
Pedro Porro with a long ball forward, looking for Son, hacked away by Sells, who was coming out towards the edge of his penalty area, and he took evasive action, and now a spin and a Cruyff turn from Pedro Porro to evade Hudson-Odoi, and he plays it back towards Bakaria. And you've got to ask, we heard Postecoglou saying in the week that he's not going to sign players who just want to play in the Champions League. He wants players who want to be here for the long term. Why on earth did a Champions League team not go for Mickey van der Ven?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's been a great buy, I really do. And when he's fit, you have to say, 5 of their 7 defeats have come when either one or both of these two centre-halves haven't been playing together. I think they're absolutely crucial, not just the likes of Maddison or Son.
And that's not to demean Tottenham, because clearly they're a great club of some stature, but Van der Ven is of that quality, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it goes to show there are players out there if you do your scouting. I think he ticks every single box, and especially for Postecoglou with the style that he wants to play. That high line, the pace in behind. I still can't believe he's recorded the fastest sprint this season in the Premier League, even faster than Kyle Walker.
And he's still only 22. Now Udogie, another youngster, showing real promise in this Tottenham team, slips it in field, looking for the run of Kulusevski.
And Van der Ven may well probably be a Champions League player next season.
Yes, there is that as well, and he's bought into the way that Tottenham want to play, and of course as a newcomer under Postecoglou, he maybe didn't have the baggage of other players who were here before, although everybody seems to have brought into it at the moment.
Yeah, even the ones who didn't have the baggage seem to have thrown that away with him coming in.
Because let's be honest, it's a bit of a sea change from what we saw from Tottenham.
God, chalk cheese doesn't do it justice.
And now they're popping the ball around the midfield area with 5 minutes to play. The challenge comes in from Dominguez on Højbjerg, but Tottenham still have it. And here is Johnson coming forward now, cutting in field towards the edge of the penalty area. Johnson continues, plays it square towards Son with the left foot shot. Oh, it's turned onto the post by Sells. Son so close to his goal, but Sells did brilliantly.
Fantastic save from Sells, diving to his left. It's a great strike from Son, but it's a brilliant run from Brennan Johnson. No one's wanting to touch him because he's so fast and getting close towards the edge and then inside the box. I tell you what, it's a really good strike from Son. It's a wonderful save from Sells.
Pinky blue evening sky overhead here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Spurs have a corner. Played short by Pedro Porro. Back towards Højbjerg. And now Lo Celso. Højbjerg again. Johnson makes the run towards the near post, then just has to check back to stay onside. But the Spurs fans have really enjoyed the second half here. Postecoglou's team have produced the sort of football which belongs in a top 4 season, and they've scored the sort of goals which belong in a top 4 side.
As them start the second half again, 17 goals they've scored now in the first 15 minutes of the second half. You know what you get, you know what's coming, even if you're doing well, you've done well in the first half, and Nuno's Forest have done really well. Just teams come here and can't seem to stop them.
Gonzalo Montiel is now coming on for Forest. The Argentinian international on loan from Sevilla. His first appearance since February the 4th, and he's replacing Nico Williams. Williams, who I think had the captain's armband on, has just thrown it to a teammate, and he heads off on the far side to make the long walk around the pitch here with 3.5 minutes to play. 08717 223 the number to call Majestic and Alan Pardew on Talksport at the end of this game. And don't forget, Phil Thompson, Peter Schmeichel and Dwight York all on Talksport Breakfast with Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbon-Lahore tomorrow to look back on the weekend action. And I'm sure Gabby will be delighted to talk about Spurs going above Villa back into the top 4. Bentancur plays it square towards Udogie. And in the final word coming up after this game, we'll just watch Origi come forward now for Forest towards the edge of the penalty area. He's been fouled. It was an enterprising run forward from Origi, and he's been caught, and it's a free kick for Forest here, right on the edge of the penalty area.
Well, he's got 3 players around him. Romero, he just can't help himself, can he? I'm just thinking, look, you're not going to beat Van de Ven if you push the ball past him. Højbjerg's coming back, Romero's coming across. Why are you making that challenge? I don't think it's a yellow card, by the way, but it's a foul. What we got? 2 minutes plus injury time. That could be 4, 5, 6 minutes. You never know nowadays. And it's a free kick right on the edge of the box, just left of the deep.
Hudson-Odoi is over it. Dominguez is also expressing an interest. But this will be the former Chelsea player, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who curls it, and it's over the top harmlessly in the end for a goal kick.
It's a waste, isn't it? An absolute waste. And if Forest were going to get back into this game, that really needed to hit the back of the net.
Substitution for Spurs, replacing number 20.
And Dane Scarlett is now coming on for Tottenham to replace Brennan Johnson, a player with only 1 appearance from the bench in the Premier League this season up against Palace in March. He was on loan at Ipswich in the Championship. All of his appearances there came off the bench as well, and his loan spell was curtailed. But he's now back on the field here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And coming up in the final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew, will also be reflecting on the life of Joe Kinnear, who passed away earlier today at the age of 77, former Tottenham fullback in the 1960s and 70s, and of course the manager of Wimbledon when they were the Crazy Gang, competing right at the highest level. And a Joe Kinnear Wimbledon team never gave anyone an easy game, did they?
They certainly didn't. I remember playing against that team late 80s. I can't remember if it was the Joe's team right then, but certainly they had a, should we say, a distinct style.
Yeah, well, they finished 6th in the Premier League in 1994. And we're ticking towards added time here. Spurs leading by 3-1. And really, Forest were blown away by 2 quick goals from defenders in the second half, after a first half in which Forest really should have been ahead by half time. Now Højbjerg with a back pass. He's had some moments, Højbjerg, since coming on. Great start to the second half, but the longer the game's gone on, the more of a liability he's appeared.
Yeah, you can't call him sloppy, because that's not what he is.
No.
But just not the quite execution, and he just really should have kept hold of the ball rather than play the ball back. I mean, he'll turn around and say, well, it got to where I wanted to get to.
We're into a minimum of 6 added minutes here. We have a shot on our monitor of the 2 owners, effectively. Well, Daniel Levy's not the owner, he's the CEO. And Evangelos Marinakis, the owner of Nottingham Forest. And of course, one looks a good deal happier than the other. And of course, they both appointed Nuno.
Absolutely. And the happy one in inverted commas didn't look overly happy, but
no.
That's Daniel Levy. He'll be happy inside for sure.
I'm sure when he saw the annual results he was happy.
I'm sure when he looks at the table right now he'd be happy.
Well, this stadium was built for the Champions League, as Murillo is penalised for a push on Scarlett, and it will be a free kick for Tottenham. 08717 223 to call the final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew at the end of this game. At the top of the table, Arsenal ahead of Liverpool on goal difference following the 2-2 draw at Old Trafford earlier on today. Rangers have the Scottish title in their hands after coming back very late on to draw with Celtic 3-3 at Ibrox, and Chelsea dropping more points late in games, 2-2 on this occasion away to Sheffield United. A win today and they would have been able to close in on the top six. And also Peterborough beating Wickham in the EFL Trophy final at Wembley. Harrison Burrows scoring twice late on. As Forest look to come forward here with Sangare, the Ivorian international, wide towards Alanga, who has not quite had the service in the second half after looking very good for much of the first. Set up the goal for Chris Wood. Quickly infield again towards Rayner, and Rayner though just crowded out. Spurs are so eager to win the ball here in the 93rd minute, and now they could break with Lo Celso wide towards the far side. No offside flag against Kulusevski. He's got so much time. He's got Koiber charging into the penalty area, but in the end the challenge comes in on the far side for Momo Babadele, and the move breaks down.
Well, he still hasn't warmed up yet properly. He's playing in second gear and everyone else is in fourth gear. Didn't sprint when he had time to. Really poor pass in the end.
Now Alanga sprinting in field for Forest, hurdles the challenge of Bentancur wide to this near side, but Pedro Porro will cut it up, but the ball forward towards Scarlett didn't really do him too many favours, and Sangare quickly wins it back here for Forest. Dominguez wide towards Hudson-Odoi again. Hudson-Odoi with some lovely footwork into the penalty area. The cross though is beyond Origi. It will be recovered by Rayner down the Forest right hand side, back in field towards Sangare again. 2.5 minutes of added time still to play. Murillo drifts it wide towards Hudson-Odoi down the Forest left, and now back to Aina. The crossing looks to be a good one, but it's headed away by Van der Ven again. A real contender for man of the match here, as Bentancur looks frustrated at the lack of movement ahead of him, finds Kulusevski, but his ball down the line back towards Bentancur is cut up by Aina, and it will be a throw into Spurs on this near side.
Just about seeing the game out now, isn't it? Game management. Chris Wood will be thinking to himself with that chance at 1-1, what an opportunity that was. I still feel that the whirlwind that is Spurs as they come out at the start of the second half would have been difficult to not have conceded at all, but this game could have ended up 2-2. You just never know.
Well, Wood headed wide when offside. He also had a back header from very close inside the penalty area, which he failed to generate the necessary power, which could have also put Forest ahead. Now Scarlett slips it through towards Kulusevski. Son wants the ball inside the penalty area, but it's cut out by Momo Babadele. In the end, Son ends up swinging on the crossbar as it goes behind for a corner kick.
Well, he's doing a bit of gymnastics there. So he's going to do a little somersault, pull himself up. Again, Kulusevski, really good play from Scarlett, you have to say. Kulusevski still not got used to the pace of this game. Poor pass in the end.
Well, Kulusevski, a player who was almost essential to the way that Spurs played under Antonio Conte, of course had injury problems as well. Now the corner's played short to Lo Celso. It's laid off by Kulusevski. Lo Celso goes for the curler, and it whizzes over the angle into those Spurs fans behind the goal.
They've not been able to handle those short corners, Forest, tonight, have they? Whichever way you go, whether it's overloading, go back down the wing, get to the byline, or come inside like Lo Celso. The goal from Van der Ven, I feel, was the real key goal to go 2-1 up early in the second half. It was massive, and that came from a corner as well, but fair play to Spurs for the way they're doing it.
Spurs at Newcastle on Talksport, 12:30 next Saturday. Forest at home to Wolves. Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock. But we've been entertained here today, and Forest still coming forward right at the end with Origi. No real support, but he hits it left-footed, and it's a trundler into the arms of Vicario. Full-time whistle. Tottenham are back into the top 4, and the prospect of Champions League football is now firmly in their hands in the closing weeks of the season. And it's the defenders who have taken them there today. Mickey van der Ven and Pedro Porro, 2 players who embrace on the field. They scored the second half goals to carry Spurs to victory. Forest had their chances after the equaliser from Chris Wood. Wood hit the post in the first half. For long spells they were the better team, but Spurs, as they so often do, came out after the break and blew the opposition away, and they are back in the top 4. It is finished here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Nottingham Forest 1.
Thank you, Nigel. Yes, an explosive start to the second half for Spurs, meaning they go into the top 4. Scott is looking at the first half and see how Nottingham Forest grew into that game in the first half. Second half, Spurs came out the blocks. 2 great subs there from the manager. I think Højbjerg was a big part of that change in the second half. Seemed to pick up the rhythm in midfield a lot more than Sarr and Basuma, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, Madge, first of all, you must be happy with that, what you saw in that second half.
Definitely.
You said to me, you know, what's going to happen here, and what would you do if you were Nuno? And I said, well, he wouldn't have wanted half-time to come. And that's what Spurs do. You know, even if they go behind, they can come back. And the start of the second half, they can be superb, and they were. I mean, that's 17 goals now they've scored in the first 15 minutes of the second half. So clearly, whatever Ange says or puts in the coffee and the oranges that they have nowadays, it definitely works. Absolutely rocket. I think the goal of Mickey van der Ven to make it 2-1 was key. Yeah. Psychologically, Forest had done so well, and suddenly they got to go again like they did in the first half. But no, you know, Spurs carried on going, made it 3-1, and really Forest never looked like they were going to come back in the game. So I do feel that Van der Ven goal was absolutely key to this match.
Absolutely right. Stay there, Scott, as it's time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Well, as a former defender yourself, Scott, I'm sure there's a few defenders you're looking at today at their striking ability, including Pedro Porro and, of course, Van der Ven. Who do you think man of the match was for you?
Yeah, look, I'd like to just give a little mention to Timo Werner. He gets a lot of criticism. I thought he was very good. Obviously made an assist. He can be dangerous against any full-back in the Premier League. But you have to give it to Mickey van der Ven, and not just for his goal. He's a colossus. He's a man mountain. No one's getting past him in terms of pace. Not many get past him in terms of strength. He's been a fantastic buy for Spurs, and that high line just really suits him and Ange.
Yes, it's funny, obviously, in the week, Ange was being pressed about the Champions League football, and he mentioned that, look, I bought Mickey van der Ven. He's not a bad player when we had no Champions League football. Van der Ven's got the ability to go on to become a Spurs legend, I feel. Funnily enough, off air, Alan Pardew said a Premier League legend. He feels he probably could go on even further and bigger than Spurs, perhaps a Manchester City.